Welcome to March 2020. I am Jenessee Roy, and I am here to offer you a choice this month to walk the red path or the blue path. What this means is that you will listen to two energies. What you step into March coming from this past February. So I'm going to give you two options. One will represent the red path and the other is going to represent the blue path. And so what this means is we're going to anchor into what you're coming into this month with, what kind of energy, what kind of consciousness level you are entering March with, and then whatever energy sounds most like what you experienced in February, that will then be the path that you choose to listen to fully, to hear what's going to be your new beginning. What will your monthly March mastery be? And then what could the possibly hurdles or hiccups or duality be that comes up for you to deal with during March? So the rule of thumb or the warning that I always give is that I highly suggest only picking one path. Do not listen to the full explanation of both the blue and red path. If you are to do this, you are most likely going to be taking on the energy of both paths, which means you are going to be taking on double the workload that any normal human should have to do in 1 month. Although if you're on an accelerated path, go for it. If you feel like you have the energy entering this lovely March number 3 month, then throw caution to the wind, go for it, do it all. But for those of you like me who like to really get very intentional, who like to enjoy this human ride and just slowly take it day by day and learn daily what we're opening to, expanding into, and diving deeper into the understanding and awareness that our soul is longing for us to know, then just pick one. Pick the red or the blue. So I'm going to start this out by giving you a little bit of the numerology behind this month. So starting from where we're coming from, the February 2020. So typically February ushers in duality. We start the beginning of the year with such great new ideas, new beginnings, all this hope, all this beautiful expectation for what we're going to create for the new year. And then we hit February, and February becomes this month where we get to fine tune. We get to recalculate everything that's kind of out of alignment, that's dysfunctional, that's possibly patterns from the past that we haven't resolved yet. All that stuff comes in the second month of the year, of the new year, to really help us fine tune, to reflect, to adjust, to let go of old paradigm, old outdated ideas that are attached to a version of ourselves we're not willing to repeat. And that is February typically. But here in this 2020 year, we are given all of these twos and zeros, which is all about programming. Zeros are all about programming, and twos are all about master building when we have so many of them in a line together. And so although February this year was really just chock full of emotion, and I liked to say it was like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It was like we were given a little bit of freedom. We kind of had the ability to build and to play and to sculpt what we're really grounding into this 4-year, this 2020, this foundational year. Yet we didn't have as much duality, as much density as we usually encounter in a February month, but it was there. And when it came up, it was almost like a sneak attack. Like we thought we had already dealt with it, yet here it is again. And so that's kind of the energy of February. Now as we enter March, what's happening for March is we're stepping into the human element. So January was all about the new beginning. February was about the potential duality of what we were birthing into this new beginning of this foundational year. And now here we're in March, and it's all about what does this human need? What does the human need, the low self, the person living the journey, right? The person going through this spiritual experience. What does that human you need to basically continue map out and create a foundation that's going to support you over the next 30-year cycle that we have just entered into. And so here, as we move into March, again, the human year really brings up things that serve this low self. And don't think of low self as a negative thing. Think of the low self as if you were taking care of yourself as a child. If you had the love, the compassion each and every day to treat yourself with those baby gloves, just really taking care and honoring what you, the human, needs to survive this really sometimes harsh and crazy reality that you live within. And so that's what March is all about. It's remembering that we're human. It's remembering that we have a physical body. It's remembering all of these things that are necessary to marry a balanced, healthy integration of a spiritual existence with this human reality. And so I love the 3-month because it really comes in and it's allowing us to take time to serve ourselves. And this isn't anything about the ego, although that could be the trap or the sticky part of this that you get in. But it's about honoring the part of you that needs to remember that everything, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? And if you're going to push yourself so hard one day, the next day you're literally going to crash and need to recover. That's just how the physical world and the material world works. And so a lot of times on a spiritual journey, and when we're in these highs of energy and flow, we tend to just push because there's really no regard for that human, and we have the energy to push through. And then what happens is when the pendulum swings back into the 3D reality, the human gets sick, the human gets knocked down, the human has to take a break, the human goes into ranges of emotional depression, grief, guilt, sorrow, jealousy, whatever those opposite of the highs were. And so really this month is about remembering that we need balance. It's remembering that we're a human that deserves to play, that deserves to be treated like that delicate child, right? That's really in a world that that not all of the time has got its back. So you this month have to have your own back, have to be watching out for the greater good of the human you. So taking care of yourself, if you're feeling sick, slow down. If you're feeling tired, give yourself a break. It's really about coming back into balance, because this month we then transition next month into a 4-month, which is going to be the biggest first kind of milestone of the 4-year. And so again, I've been saying this month after month, but this 2020 is this magical beginning for a lot of us to really start to lay the foundation that's going to support us over the next cycle of our life. And so whether this is your first cycle, your first Saturn return, if this is your second cycle, or if this is what could be considered your last cycle of life, it's here. And what we do this year is really grounding us and grounding what basically reality we're going to be playing within over the next cycle of our life. So this is the month where we get to prepare the human for next month, which is going to be this microcosm or this small version of what we're creating for ourselves this entire year. So we really want to make sure our human is ready, our human is functioning with, in homeostasis in its most balanced state of being, so that we can really enter, the next quarter, right? Starting April, enter that next quarter healthy, balanced, and ready to take on this kind of first big glimpse at what we're building for ourselves. So let's talk about where you're coming from and what the potential 2 paths look like. So you're going to use this information right now to decide what path you're walking. Are you going to be choosing and walking the blue path this month, or are you going to be walking the red path? And so I'm going to start with the red path because I have my energies, my 8 energies, the 4 of the red, the 4 of the blue out in front of me. So excuse me when I pan this way or scan this way to just look at what the cards are saying. But The red energy, what you'll be coming from February and that amazing duality month that's really kept you, kept you fine-tuning your process. So it's all about stability. The person who right now is entering March and needing to manifest stability. This would be the person who feels like, where the F is my foundation? Like, where am I? Who am I? What am I doing? This would be getting completely turned upside down from February. Something and whatever came up in February, January and February are supposed to be these beginning months to start playing with the bigger concept of what you're ushering in for the next 30-year cycle, right? What's that ground level blueprint of who you are, what you're building, what your path, what your purpose looks like? What is that first layer of that blueprint look like? That's what we're building this year. And so we've entered this year, and January was the new beginning with all these ideas and all these understandings and all this inspiration. February came up and it was like, all right, I'm feeling good, I'm moving forward, but there's duality that's helping me fine tune. And now you're entering March, and there should have been something in February, if you're picking the red path, that literally took that foundation away, that has stripped you of any stability, where now you're like, I need to manifest some kind of stability. I need to manifest something in this world that I feel connected to. I need to manifest a new foundation. This is all about your relationships and getting grounded. And this is again, it's getting turned upside down. The reality you thought you were in, now you're in the mirror image of that, and you're just like, everything's topsy-turvy, and it's like, whoa, what's happening, right? It should be this complete reality shift. And so right now, the energy you're pulling in is really, again, it's wanting to anchor in, it's wanting to find some kind of sense of belonging, some kind of sense of connection, but it's more in grounding into a foundation. It's like, this is somebody who the carpet just got pulled from out underneath your feet, and boop, there you go. And it's like, you find yourself on the floor and you're like, what just happened, right? So this is the kind of energy the person who is walking the red path for March should be entering this month with. There should have been just a complete flip of your reality in February, and what you had experienced and now what you're moving into. And so some of the other energies that you could be experiencing here, I'd say like a real sense of devotion, trying to find what your heart is wanting to follow, trying to find that sense again. And this can be connected to relationships. This can be connected to partnerships, if it's business or romantic, whatever it is, it has to do with you and other people that you've kind of made agreements, contracts, you have energetic cords of connection to, and that's where your reality got flipped upside down. And so now, there's this, like, the heart feels lost, and in this energy, the consciousness of this level is all about devotion. It's about, what does my heart, like, I don't even know, what does my heart want, right? We're at that level of emotionality where it's like the world is so reversed for you right now that you're just trying to feel into what this could be, what this could mean, what this energy created for you in February, where it's guiding you, right? And so there's this sense of like devotion, right, that this person should have, where they're really trying to do an inward kind of reflection to see, where am I being guided right now? And this is happening in your physical. So, the energy, the activation level, it should be triggering you in your physical reality. Again, this is somebody who has experienced I want to try and go step by step here, but it's somebody who's experienced, again, that rug was pulled out from under your feet. A totally unexpected whoop. One day you were here, and now the next day you're like, oh my goodness, this is what it's come to, right? So this is the energy of the red path. If that sounds like what you had experienced in February and what you're transitioning for in March, and where you enter this month at, then pick the red path. If that's you, I even suggest don't listen to what the energy of the blue path is, which I'm going to say next. Just go right to the end of the video and listen to the full details of the red path. So somebody who's trying to manifest stability for their human. Again, March is this human month. It is the 3-month. The stability is what you're trying to manifest for your human who has to live and build a foundation for this entire year to feel grounded and secure upon. So that is your red path, and hopefully you'll join me if this is your energy to listen to the full details later in the video. Okay, so the red path maybe wasn't for you. Maybe you are not coming from February seeking stability for you, the human. So that might leave you then to the blue path. And the blue path this month is coming in, and for its human, right, entering this March, what your human is desperately seeking is to get rid of these feelings of guilt. So who is it in your reality in February that triggered you so much that you feel guilty about who you are, what you're doing, what your purpose is, what you're seeking? You know, the person who enters March on the blue path will have been dealing with a lot of guilt energy. So it could be from February, you were healing lots of this guilt between you and another person. It could have been a main focus every time maybe you got those 1 step forward and then that 2 steps back. Maybe the 2 steps back were because you had things come up in your reality that were triggering you into this emotion of guilt. And so let me just digress for a minute and explain guilt, my understanding of guilt. So guilt is a very sacral chakra energy, and it happens between 2 or, of course, more people. But typically, when we get triggered by guilt, what's happening in our field is we are not 100% in trust, in connection to our authenticity. And so what happens is we manifest a person. It could be your romantic partner. It could be a business partner. It could be a friend. It could be just somebody on the street that calls into question something that you had aligned to. And so what happens when they call that out within you, it actually triggers you into this moment of being able to be made to feel guilty about what you are claiming as your truth, your authenticity, your path, your purpose. If somebody can trigger you into guilt, there is something happening between what you think your truth is and what the authentic truth is, or what you're in congruence to. And so the guilt trigger comes up to show you that there's something not completely connected here. So if somebody, anybody, and we'll just use a romantic partnership here, just because I think everybody understands how, how a partner in your life, the love of your life, or even, the contentious partner in your life, whatever type of relationship you're coming from right now, how that person is the one person in this reality that can just say something and turn that fork, that knife in your stomach, in your gut, that makes you question everything that you're connected to. It's like being on trial, right? And that person who you trust, who you admire, who you've put your faith into, right? Or who you have an understanding with. Maybe it's a really long partnership that you just have come to a really great understanding within one another. And you say something, you expose a dream, you expose a desire, you expose a heartfelt want, or something that you feel is a truth of you, of your soul, a truth, a reflection of who you are on a soul level. And that person says something, does something that twists that fork inside of you and makes you feel guilty about who you are, or the path you've chosen, or the projects you're doing, or how you want to live your life. If you're doing something out of the kindness of your heart and not charging for it, or if you're going out and spending your time with somebody else because they're in need right now, and the partner makes you feel guilty about what you're doing. Boom, that instant whoa, and you feel and you own, you question your truth. Guilt is made to show you where there is something within you that is not in congruence to your highest truth. And sometimes we can be made to feel guilty because we're actually in an old pattern, because we have been living in this cyclical kind of existence where we actually haven't rechecked into, is this really still my truth? So sometimes guilt can come in and really show us where we have been ignoring an old outdated pattern that is no longer in connection to our highest path, our highest purpose. And if that was happening to you in February, that would be the epitome of what February was manifesting for anybody. February was coming up to show you where there might still be duality, where there might still be old patterns that are being repeated in your current life and your current choices. And so of course we would manifest somebody outside of us to make us feel guilty about choices we were making, to get us to actually review those choices on a soul level. And so if you were able to go into guilt, feel guilt, if you had guilt as an emotion come up for you, if you felt guilty about yourself, if you feel guilty about, what you're doing for other people, if guilt was a part of your February, then please pick the blue path. This is what you are working on for this March. And the human part of you is looking to find balance, to regain. And so this is what the energy is ushering you in for. Of course, February was supposed to be this kind of trigger-centric month to get us to really slow down, or really kick us on our ass to slow down, to do our work. And so when that happened, emotions are one of these ways that we really get triggered to stop, to take kind of an inventory of the self and figure out, is this me? Am I feeling guilty because it's my problem, or am I feeling guilty because this is your bag of BS, right? And so that's what February should have gotten you kind of tapped into, was again another deeper review of the relationships, of whose stuff is this? Is this me? Is this you? It should have really pulled up and stirred up a lot of suppressed, and I don't want to say suppressed like you haven't been willing to deal with this. We're just going into these minute, really deep layers of our matrix, of the fabric that basically is creating our reality. And so these tiny little impingements around guilt have been now triggered, so that here in March, the human you can start to calculate and serve its human self, figure out what that human you needs, what the low self you needs, to build that stable foundation to basically carry on the work and the purpose that you're here to do for the rest of the year. So that is the blue path. Yep, it took me a minute there. It is the blue path. That is the blue path for March. If you have been dealing with guilt triggers coming from February and ushering you into this month, then pick this. And just another little few words about the guilt, and I feel like I've said it all, but this level has been coming in on it's a consciousness attached to the unity plane. It's also the consciousness and the activity level of trying to find harmony. And so when I say the unity plane, this is even bigger than just you and somebody else triggering you into guilt. I mean, we're in such, in North America, we're in such a political reality right now. We're literally, our unity consciousness is being bounced between duality, between what we would consider left-wing and right-wing ideals. And so, when we look at unity of what triggers us into guilt, this could even be, watching what humanity is doing on a world stage, and then feeling guilty that you're not doing enough, you're not being enough, you're not, it's reviewing not just you compared to a partner who might be making you feel guilty, but this could also be on a much bigger platform. So I just didn't want to leave any of that out, because it's really important per this level, and has to do with a lot of emotions and being in that emotional plane. signs. So that will be the blue path, and then the red path is the stability. The person who in February had the rug pulled out from underneath them and is now looking to find a new normal, a new stability, a new foundation. And so those are your two options. It is now time to pick your path. The red path will be what continues right after this, so just stay tuned. And if you're picking the blue path today, I'll put the number code up, and if I'm savvy enough or have the attention span, I'll just create a quick link to go to that part of this video. But if not, find the time right here and just scroll through to get to that part of the video that will have the blue path continued. So staying with me here and just continuing on, up next will be the red path. So you picked the red path. I am so excited for you. Although, whatever happened to you to get you here on the red path in February, although it was a surprise, although it was startling, although it feels like maybe the trajectory of your path is really changing, realigning, I want to just encourage you that everything in this world is perfect. Everything in, this dimensional fabric that you're a part of is always in perfection. So trust that whatever got you here was meant specifically for you to get you right here, right now, to continue this month in the best, most centered and aligned way possible so that you can continue to build a foundation that supports your purpose, your growth. So again, I'm going to track out this way just because I'm reading a few different energies now, so my eyes are going to go out here. So you come, seeking stability. You're really looking to manifest a new level of stability for yourself, and that's the red path energy that ushered you here into this March month. And so for you, the monthly mastery is it's all about inspiration. And so this is your voice in connection to your purpose, and not just your purpose, but your passion. So purpose is more etheric, purpose is more higher chakra energy, where passion becomes this emotional energy. Passion is what we can feel, tangibly feel. It's what artists would call that creative energy inside, that once they get that inspiration, it's like they have to start creating. It's so visceral, it's so palpable that you can't go another minute, another second without creating it into reality, right? So that is the emotional energy I'm talking about here with this inspiring overlay that is your mastery for this month. So when we talk about mastery and what your monthly mastery is, this is what divine, everything that got you here, everything that got you to this point, what you're experiencing and what you're really uncovering is the mastery of this month. And for you, it's the human, and for you, it's this inspiration. It's your passion in connection to your voice, what you speak, and how you can inspire those surrounding you. And so this is really about getting back in tune with what you're feeling, how you're creating, what you're doing. I'm going back to February, and February seemed to be like a real shock wave that kind of just boom, imploded the month for you, right? And so it almost seems like wherever you're coming from, whatever those ideals were in January, and then February comes and kind of toys with you, right? Like a cat with its prey, right? A cat that's captured a spider. Have you ever seen that? Where the cat's like just messing with the spider. That should have been kind of your February. And then all of a sudden, the cat eats the spider. That's kind of how your February imploded. And so you're the spider in this situation. And now we come into March, and it's like, what is my human even going to do? Like, where's my human going to go from here? How do I take care of this when it feels like everything I'm coming from has really just flipped? Like everything is now headed in a different direction. And so the mastery, what your goal is to really expand into this month, is this inspirational energy. And so this is re-tapping back into the passion of I'd even go back to January, and the end of the year was so powerful. The end of the year was such a powerful cultivating time to really see what we're opening up into. And so go back to December, go back to January. You know, I think in December I was telling people to do like dream boards, and I know in January lots of people do intention setting. So what was it? What were all those juices that were just so palpable, so tangible within you, that made you feel so excited to start 2020, made you feel so energetic to start building brick by brick a foundation for the 365 days that live within this 2020 year? What was it that was getting you so excited that made you want to work each and every day to build a solid foundation for yourself? That is the passion we're talking about. That is what you're tapping back into here in March. That is the energy that that will become your mastery. You know, those who get knocked down and get back up again are some of the strongest in this world. And that is the energy of inspiration. That is what you're cultivating, but you also have to be willing to use your voice. There is an aspect here where you have to tell your story. You have to tell your truth. You have to speak clearly. That story of inspiration that had basically from February to March taken you out, knocked you down, made you feel less than, made you feel wrong, made you feel whatever less, like you lost all your footing, like you lost all your support, like you lost any sense of normalcy in your reality. And so speak your truth. Be willing to share that story, because that story is going to be what sets on fire the creative juices that realign you, the human, to what feels like a, how do I want to say that? Feels like it's normal, feels like you're back in action, feels like, you know, the human you is supported to basically to move forward in a supported way, that you're taken care of and don't have to worry or stress because of what had happened in February. So even though, you know, the stability, or that, you know, the feeling like you belong, or like you grounded, or like you're supported, was kind of what got you here, and feeling like things are shifting, things are rocky, and that's what you're trying to manifest, is this stability. Through speaking your truth, speaking your story, you're going to inspire those around you, which will then flip on, ignite that creative energy within you, which is going to ignite the mastery energy for the entire month of March, which is going to be what you need to basically gain the wisdom to move out of March and into April, and really be able to ground solidly into kind of that microcosm of our foundation that we're building. So basically this month, to find that balance for the human, you really have to be comfortable using your voice in connection to your story to inspire, and then that reignites that creativity, that passion, everything that was like having you full steam ahead from the end of last year to the beginning of this year, it all comes back. And so and it's through the inspiration of your story, whatever happened, whatever made you kind of lose the path, but now back on the path. So trust in all of that, and that will be the mastery that you attain, the wisdom that you attain, that then helps you move really seamlessly into April, which will then help you build brick by brick again. But April is all about actually starting to implement and see some of these bricks come into your physical reality, which is pretty cool. So the new beginning for you, and the new beginning should be happening around the first 2 weeks of the month. I always like new beginnings aligning with new moons as well. If you do new moon and full moon work, then I always align the new beginning and the duality with the new moon and the full moon. So wherever that falls, it's usually within the first few days of the month, depending on where we are in the cycle. But the new beginning for you should start to come up for you in the first few weeks of March. And the new beginning for you is going to be manifestation. This is your purpose anchoring into your foundation. And so this is going to be, this is a crown locking into root. This is a full energetic connection. This is a cycle. This is a completion of a cycle. This is where the crown chakra, everything you've been playing with, basically starts to anchor into your reality. And so if you're on track, if you are starting to understand what it means to have mastery this month, which means speaking your story, using your voice, the voice that unlocks the sacral chakra, that creative, passionate energy, the feeling body, when you can use your voice and then through your voice and your story start to feel again, that unlocks everything that I feel like probably got a bit jarred from whatever happened in February, whatever makes you want to seek stability so strongly here on this red path. And what that does is by starting to own that energy and that mastery of this March, you'll actually start to manifest pieces of your purpose into this fabric, into this foundation, into your reality, which means you have a very clear connection to bring in what you need, and don't expect it to be the big picture here. These are going to be manifestation of connections, manifestation of ideas, concepts, things that you're going to need. It's like your toolbox that you need to then start building in April. So, don't think it's going to be big picture stuff. If you need $1 million, you'll manifest one of the winning numbers for the lottery, in March. Like, that's the level we're working at here. We're manifesting the stepping stones that we need to basically get us to what's going to be building into our reality come April. And so just know that you're a really clear connection. And again, this is the new beginning. This is new moon stuff. So if you want to make intentions about being an open, clear vessel, it's crown chakra to root chakra. This is a full, open, clear channel that is vulnerable, open, and accepting of whatever is there to come in. So that is the new beginning. That is the energy I want you to explore and play with. And again, that will be what you start stepping into, feeling, playing with, if you are in alignment to this month's energy and the mastery of this month, which means, again, not hesitating to use that voice in an inspirational way to speak your story, which then gets you to feel into resonance with what's connecting to you and what's not connecting to you. Your feeling body. I feel like the feeling body is one of the tickets here for you. When you can really feel things viscerally, feel it passionately, right? That is one of those things you're looking for as an experience throughout this month. Potential duality comes in, and that usually comes in when the full moon ushers into the month, sometime later in the month, around the 20s. And so the duality comes in relationships and how you're expressing yourself. And so this is about, it's kind of like teacher, mentor energy. This would be giving your power away. This would be a one-on-one relationship and how you're willing to walk the walk, talk the talk, express yourself. So I'd look for disconnect in, again, I'm just going to go all the way back to February and what got you here for the red path, which is stability. And there's something with a one-on-one relationship where your foundation just got rocked. And so here, what this is saying is the potential duality comes back in surrounding that relationship. And if you feel like you're not able to be you around that person. And so this would show a shutdown. This would show emotionally pulling back from whatever the truth of the situation here, and the wisdom, which is, the wisdom of this month for you is about being able to use your voice and feel deeply, whatever your voice creates as the path that you get to kind of traverse throughout this month. And so the duality will come in if that relationship has affected you to where you're living an inauthentic life experience. in connection to that relationship. Again, and it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be, but it can be partnership, it can be, a business, it can be just friend, it can be, a family member, somebody who voiced an opinion, took something away, was, outrageous in February that completely rocked and shifted your world. And so that comes back in to be the test for you. So this month, your test, your initiation to see if you're going to pass this energy and enter April as a balanced human will be if you cannot be yourself when it comes to this relationship. And this is all about not only being the teacher, but also being the student here and allowing that relationship to kind of reflect to you if you've grown from whatever happened, or if you are stuck in something that is suppressing your authenticity, taking away your truth, right? So the goal in this life is to be and live our authentic truth and to always be the essence of our soul, of all of this divinity that we bring into this lifetime. And so if somebody can take that away from you and make you act a different way, then you will be on an inauthentic path, which means what you will start building in April will probably not be a reflection of the truth of what that foundation needs to be this year. So that is your red path. I really wish for you a strong, solid voice that really taps you into levels of inspiration, feeling, expression, emotion, because that is the mastery. And when you master that, you are the perfect manifester and you retain your authenticity. And that is how you find the balance that you need to move into April. So with light and love. So you picked the blue path. Oh my goodness. So there was some guilt. There was some guilt that happened in February. You either made somebody feel guilty, you felt guilty, probably a little bit of both. And so reminder, I'm tracking out this way to kind of look at what energies you're pulling in. But we're going to get started with the monthly mastery. So the monthly mastery is all about what the goal, what the wisdom is that you're aligning to this month. The reason why we pick these paths, the red path or the blue path, is to have life experiences and to understand how those experiences are trying to get us to expose different aspects of ourselves and to bring out the wisdom of why we live and experience certain situations. And so those that picked the blue path this month picked it because of this guilt that they're coming into this month with. And so the mastery for you this month, of course, since guilt all has to do with these kind of one-on-one triggers or somebody who has guilted you into feeling or expressing in a certain way. So this is all about being open to receive from that one-on-one relationship, and it's receiving parts of your purpose. So this is really interesting. So a lot of times when we get triggered into emotions, I should say, and guilt, of course, being one of those massive emotions, only second, I think, to anger or fear. When we get triggered into an emotion, it really stops us in our tracks and it makes us take note of what's happening, right? We as humans do not like to feel dense emotions. And if we can feel a dense emotion and understand the wisdom from it immediately, then it's okay because that emotion has taught us something. But so many times, most of humanity gets trapped in the confusion of the emotion and can't see or gain the perspective from a higher level of consciousness over what's happening. And so that perspective for you, what they're saying was happening is that this person, whoever has been guilting you, has been poking you, right? And trying to make you question your authenticity, question what you're doing, question your purpose, question, getting you really confused, right? Is this me? Is this my problem? Is this you? Is this your problem, right? Trying to self-diagnose, self-analyze, and then do a diagnosis and an analysis on the other person and trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong. If you're in that, you're in the confusion of the energy of this emotion. what you need to understand, the monthly mastery or the wisdom that you're being taught this March for you, the human, is that this person who has been doing this to you probably for a while now, I'm not thinking this was just a February thing, but probably February you were clued into it more so than, the years or whatever it's been going on. But this person is really trying to get you very clear, honed in, fine-tuned to your purpose. And so all the questioning, all the confusion, everything they're bringing up inside of you as this emotion of guilt is really here to get you to connect more fully to your purpose and to be open to receive that much more of your divine purpose. And so this person is really getting you to fine tune, to go deep within yourself to see, is this really me? Is this really what I want? Is this how I should be walking this path? And every time you do that inward reflection and come out with an answer, you've redefined a new center. You have literally created a new experience for your soul. And so what happens when you redefine and create this new aspect of your soul, and that then now gets presented to the outside world. You then present this new concept, whether it's whether that person made you question and you went in, fine-tuned a few things and said, yes, this is me, look at it, this is me. You represent it to the outside world, you show your soul off again, and then now they're going to try and guilt you in. Are you sure that's you? You changed again. You're a chameleon here. You're changing yet again. Are you sure that's really what you want? Are you sure this is you? They guilt you into it again. And then as they guilt you into it, you get confused. You do that self-analysis. You go back in, and this time you find, oh, there was a hole in that. Or, there was a part of that I wasn't 100% sure about. And so anytime they can guilt you into an identity that you've created, or something you've connected to so strongly, that just shows that there's more work, there's more redefining of the center point of view. There's more and it's not work, that's the wrong word, but there's more understanding that you need to have over the essence that you're presenting to the world. And this person is the vessel to basically get you to fine tune that it's like a resume of your soul. Like, they're helping you fine tune all of those perfect bullet points of your soul, because this person is the person who's helping to expose your purpose. And so the mastery of this human month, the mastery of this March for you, is to understand that if you're being able to be made feel guilty, and I feel like that's probably even secondary here. I feel like that was a thing happening in February. And now here in March, there's some understanding of it. There's wisdom you've gained, the wisdom of that pattern of them being able to guilt you. And so now I feel like what's going to be happening is whoever that trigger was for you, whoever put you into those moments of guilt or questioning, that person's now going to come in and just help you really fine tune these aspects of your soul that you're ready to present to the world. And so it's really now you're seeing this person as somebody who you can actually receive vital information from, even though they still might not get it. They might be doing it in their dense, negative, low frequency way, or just, their own authentic way. But because you understand now what they've been doing, it's almost as if this becomes a fun reality where you're like, ooh, here they are again. Ooh, they're questioning me again. Ooh, this means I get to go in and see if this is really what I want, what I want my soul to be when it's birthed out into the world. And so, and when I say soul, I'm talking about this kind of new, and it's not new. It's a part of your purpose. It's a part of your divine destiny, but it's a part of the foundation that you're creating into this 2020. It's a part of something new that you have not brought to this world before, that you're ready to bring to the world and have reviewed. And so, and this is going to be part of your foundation that you survive on right over the next 30 years. And so in this right now is this fine-tuning part of this journey for you. And so this person who in the past has made you feel guilty about who you are, what you're doing, what you're pursuing, is now the catalyst for your purpose to be birthed, you're receiving so much guidance, inspiration, right? And they don't have to be an inspiring person to you, but what they do now, you totally see is just fueling this part of this birthing of your next platform that you're gonna present to the world. And I hope I'm not using too many fluffy words there. But so the new beginning for you, and the new beginning always happens around the first few weeks of the month. I like to always attach new beginnings and duality to the new moon and the full moon. And I don't know when the new and full moon is this month, but typically they're around, the beginning days is the new moon, and then somewhere in the 20s is the full moon. And so the new beginning for you should be happening right here around this first week, maybe sometime second week of March. And this is all about manifesting kindness, and this is about your mind in connection to how you walk your walk and talk your talk. And so I'm going to say that in the past, your mind has been your biggest enemy isn't the right word, but your biggest opposition. Like your mind is what would question and judge and, is this really right? And so there is this switch for you. You are manifesting this judgment-free zone in the mind that allows you to walk without needing to know. And this is the new beginning. So when I talk about new beginning, this is the energy that I want you to be ushering in for yourself this March. This is what brings the balance to the human you that is birthing this next part of your foundation that you were kind of being guilted in, guilted over, all these things, everything we've been talking about. The new beginning is you ushering in a mental space where you are in non-judgment. You are in no time, no space. You are in a clear, I almost see it as, and I don't know why I see it as this. It's like one of those computer games. Sorry, I have two little boys. It's like one of those computer games where you build your own fort, you build your own reality, right? When you first start one of those new games, it's a completely blank slate. And so this is how I feel your mental field. In the new moon, in the new beginning, it's about letting go of any need to control, letting go of any need to know. It is the dark side of the mental field that you're getting rid of, right? It's that judging, being timed, being self-critical, all of these things, right? That we tend to get into patterns with when we really don't know what's going on. Remember, you've been fine-tuning. So now you're here. And the new moon, the new beginning for you is all about having kindness towards the path you're walking. And this month, this specific month of March, is about finding balance for the humans so that come April, you can actually start building physical bricks into this 3D reality that support this baby you've been birthing, right? And so April's the time for work. April is going to be the time where things start happening, right? March is the time to walk in balance with the low self, with the human. Remember, the low self, the human, the ego thinks we need to do. The ego thinks we need to be, putting in a 24-hour day to actually manifest what we need. The ego, which the ego is the low self, right? So the ego is the low self, the personality, the human. That's everything I've been talking about for this month of March. The ego, the low self, the human, that part of us has been so programmed to think it needs to know, it needs to calculate, it needs to control, it needs to do, it needs to it needs everything checked off its list. And that is what you are letting go of. Right now for March, you need to be, again, treating that human you like the little amazing child it is. Sending so much love, so much appreciation. And for you specifically, the new beginning is so much kindness. This is allowing the mind to let go of a need to control and simply walking the walk, talking the talk, being the full, complete expression of you. And as you do that and transition into that for your month of March, this person, whoever the catalyst is that's been for you, that's been helping you fine tune, that person is probably going to still be there chirping in. And will help you receive even more of your purpose this month, right? It's like when you can just let go and just like fly, little birdie, fly this month and just be in the journey and find that balance and almost like a childlike balance to this month, you will be living the new beginning, which means you will gain the monthly mastery, which is the wisdom, which for you, it's all about being open to receive each and every day what you need to basically birth this, bring this thing through. And then the duality. So the duality comes in again around the full moon. Sometimes for me specifically numerology, it comes in around the 20s of the month. And so the duality is a chance to kind of like pull back, redefine, and make sure we're not patterning anything here. So the duality comes in with denial. And of course, right? So if the new beginning is about clearing the mind, trusting, having kindness, appreciation to what we're processing without needing to control, of course, your test, your big test come the full moon is going to be, well, do you trust? Do you trust? Are you going to make it through the entire month just trusting that as long as you let go of any need to know and just send kindness and you do you this month, if you just find that balance for the human, do you completely trust that come April that what you need will be coming to you in the physical? And so this is about denial. It's about a pullback of the third eye chakra. It's about dimming your light, distrusting. It's going into denial that what I need is coming. It's going to be the way you will know you have failed this duality test is if you are hyper third eye chakra, obsessive, right? And what they're saying is most likely you're going to go into a hypo third eye chakra, which is denial. It's going to be the questioning. It's going to be your mental plane acting back up. So I'd circle the 20s or wherever that full moon lands this month and just put a big old warning and say, if I'm questioning, if my mind is getting that monkey mind, that overly, judging, self-critical, trying to calculate, trying to make lists, trying to control, right? Trying to plan. If you get in an obsessive cycle here in the mental field, you have not passed the test. You have failed the test that you have initiated for yourself by picking the blue path this month. And so really watch out for that. And the one way to stay balanced here. I said that the one way, and then I actually saw a visualization. There's some great visualizations, that you can do where you run figure eights, between the left and right brain. I love doing that type of stuff just because, for me, it's a relaxing energy to kind of connect and sync the analytical and the holographic brain. And so it keeps everything balanced and really in that center point of the pineal gland, that antenna that keeps us connected to the path, allowing us to walk our purpose without needing to know, because we receive what we need to know when we need to know it, and so we don't question. And so a balanced third eye chakra is when the mind and the intuition are in harmony and balance to constantly give you the bigger perspective of what's needed in the moment when it arises. And so there's no need to calculate. There's no need to stress. There's no need to control. There's no need to, be in denial or get obsessive, right? Which is the hypo or hyper spins of that third eye chakra. So that will be your test right around the full moon, the 20s of the month. So just watch out for that, because that will be you repeating old patterns. What you want to do is stay in the new beginning for this entire month, because the new beginning is what ushers in the balanced human for you, and you need to be in that balanced human. You need to have found balance within your human to be able to enter April, a clear vessel to then produce what is going to be asked of you in this physical reality come April. So with so much light and love, I really appreciate you showing up and walking and living your authentic truth each and every day, and I shall do the same. If you're here watching this on YouTube, I highly suggest you download the free Chakra Deck app. You'll find that link below for Apple or Android. You can get all of this information and so much more there. And then also there's many courses now that we have on Udemy and other places. And so if you're looking to support myself and some of our other facilitator friends, find one of those courses, download it, and give us some star ratings, as it really helps us do the work that we do for you each and every month. And so with so much light and love, I hope you walk this month in your mastery and stay anchored to the new beginning and really just enjoy everything that Divine has in store for you.
The Chakras Root to Crown Oracle deck is a tool designed to help people connect to their soul destiny. As humans, we live a birth-to-death cycle, yet as a soul, our existence is infinite. In each human life, our goal is to learn and connect to our authentic self. We seek guidance when we are repeating patterns and feel blocked from our purpose. This oracle deck breaks down a human's chakra system and uses that information as a roadmap. Each chakra contains physical, emotional, and spiritual information to navigate a clear path towards authenticity and awakening. By gathering perspective with a reading, you will gain soul-level wisdom. These insights bring depth to your spiritual journey and dissolve the blocks, unveiling your highest potential. Take the next step by selecting your layout and explore a reading today.